What's up, everybody? Welcome to Survival Dispatch. I am Bear of BearIndependent.com on YouTube, Patreon, and the interwebs in general. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things that can kill you: food and water. Now, many times in preparedness, food and water aren't precisely the most sexy thing. They're not the coolest piece of kit or hardware, or beans and rice don't really come in multicam that I'm aware of. So people on many occasions have a hard time getting excited about the prospect of storing food and water. But it's vitally important. Too little and you'll die. Yeah, for real. And it's not really survivalism if you're dying now, is it? So let's talk a little bit about what one should have in their house and what one should have in their bug out bag. So when it comes to water, your bug out bag, ideally, and I don't get wrapped around the axles on bug out bag or inch bag, I'm never coming home bag, or my get home bag, or I just call mine my rucksack. In fact, it's right over here. Unstaged. Okay. I don't care what you call it, but you should have a bag with some type of capability to sustain life for a given period of time. You really need to back into what that number is based upon what your bug out plan is. Where are you going? How long is it going to take to get there? I'm sure we're all familiar with Angry American, the Going Home series. 200-mile walk home. Do you have everything you need for a 200-mile walk home? Well, if you don't have a 200-mile walk, you don't really need to be concerned about that within reason. If you got a 30-mile walk, that's much different than a 200-mile walk. Let's just say you got a 50-mile walk, right? You're probably talking 5 days under good conditions, 10 days under bad conditions. Well, water is one of those things, at least in my rucksack, that I have a lot of carrying capacity of. I have a 2.5 liter water bladder. I have 2 1-liter water bottles, just plastic water bottles, like smart water bottles. We'll touch on the reason why for that in a moment. And I have a 1-liter single wall stainless steel bottle. Then I have a 1-liter canteen as well. So about 6.5 liters carrying capacity. The reason for that is while you can go 3 days without water, you don't really want to. Just like food, you can go 3 weeks without food, but you don't really want to. You're certainly not functioning at peak capacity if you don't. Oh, I also have a 1-liter Nalgene bottle in my kit as well that I took out to show you for reasons. So over 7 liters of carrying capacity. Now, whatever your body weight is, let's say you're a 200-pound male, you divide that by 2, and that's the number of ounces you need at a minimum per day. So that'd be 100 ounces or about 3 liters. The reason you want so much carrying capacity is that's under normal conditions. If you have a lot of output, like carrying around a 65-pound rucksack over hill and dale, you're going to need more water. You can double that for extreme output, and you can up to triple that for extreme output in extreme weather. So you can go 3 days without water, but you don't really want to, because the idea of bugging out is to get from point A to point B pretty quick. Okay, we're going from where things are bad to where things are less bad and or good. So we want to do that as quickly as possible. So carrying capacity matters. I'd say a minimum of 5 liters for a bug out bag and about 3 liters for a day pack. Now, you also want to look at, in a bug out bag, things like having a single wall container that you can boil water for a couple minutes to kill any little swimmy nasties that are in there. Something like this. I haven't actually used this yet. It's in testing and evaluation, but I was smart enough to stick a whole bunch of Colombian coffee inside of here, because this is actually a coffee press. So may have to use this sooner than later. but point is single wall stainless steel. You can use fuel canisters like this with the little camping stoves to be able to heat that water up or build a fire. Filtration. So you got treatment, boiling, and filtration. For treatment, Aquamira and many other brands make these little water tabs. You drop in your water, you wait about 30 minutes, 35 minutes or so. Same thing with the drops. You can use the drops as well. And iodine drops. Now, or you can use a filter. This is a Sawyer Mini. I like the Sawyer Mini because they're affordable. They're like 20 bucks. It comes with a straw. So if you're a Life Straw addict, which I'm not, but if you are, Life Straw is so much better because it comes with a straw. Boom, Life Straw, okay? I don't like the Life Straw because it seems good in theory until you realize you have to put your face this close to your water source. And if you don't have something like this to be sipping out of, now you're doing push-ups in the mud to get a drink of water. Less than ideal. So I'm not a fan of the Life Straw for that reason. I understand that they may have made improvements to their product, but I've kind of checked out on Life Straw. Maybe they're awesome now, I don't know. But the last time I checked, wasn't a fan. I also like the Sawyer Mini because if you're running a hydration bladder, you can hook your hydration hoses on either end, and now you have an inline filter. So you can dunk in a non-permissive environment, meaning a place that we can't just hang out and boil water or filter water or whatever. You can dunk your water bladder, close it up, throw it back in your rucksack, and run your filter in line. So this is filtering the dirty water that's in your water bladder, making it clean before it gets to your face hole. So Sawyer Mini is an option. You might also look at things like Catadine, as well as MSR, Mountain Research. These are pumps. Get your brain out of the gutter there, Marines. These are pumps. And the way this works is it has a little hose. You throw the little hose into your water source, and then you screw this onto your Nalgene bottle, like so. And you... It peed on me. You see that? So this is an option as well. And these things range from like 70 bucks to several $100s. This one's about 70 bucks, recommended. This doesn't have a lot of hardware on it yet, but I have others that do. So you want to look at treatment options, the ability to boil water, and filtration options. I have, oh, I forgot to put my little cap in there. I have in a little kit right here that the Sawyer came out of. This is an old IFAC pouch, Milsurp, okay? So got some storm matches here. If I need to make a fire for boiling water, I can. Got my Sawyer Mini in here. I like the Sawyer because it comes with a backwash syringe, so you can knock all the junk out of the filter to keep it filtering for a long time. I have a bandana here for pre-filtering a water source if needed. I have a squeeze pouch. It comes with a squeeze pouch. I have the little straw that they send with it. And then I've also got, you know, Bic lighters and other things. Little sharpening stone, because why not? A little bit of duct tape, because it does work as tinder. And other things in here. All in this little kit that I can attach to a pack if needed. I can hand to a buddy if needed and say, hey, here's some water. Okay, so in a bug out scenario, you need to have water. I think we've hit it enough times, but yeah, you can go 3 days without water, but why? You can go 3 weeks without food, but why? Home storage wise, I think for most people probably aren't to the level or ability of using IBC totes, intermediate bulk containers, which range from about 175 gallons to 330-ish gallons. They can be had anywhere for 50 bucks used to, you know, several $100s new. And rainwater collection would be the preferred methodology for using an IBC tote. You have a roof, you hang a gutter. I'm oversimplifying here. Have a roof, hang a gutter, port that gutter into an IBC tote, good to go. Other options are 55-gallon plastic drums, 50-ish bucks, right? 55 gallons, good to go. Other things you might look at are things like these. Just like I think this holds 7 gallons or so, which if you do the math, you're pushing 60 pounds on something like this when it's full of water. So they make these in different sizes, 2.5, 4, I think, 7 as shown. I like this thing a lot. This is actually like a super heavy duty double layer pouch. And this comes from smartbottleinc.com. They don't pay me any money. I've had this thing for 1.5 years in testing and evaluation. It's made in the USA and it folds up. You can carry this in your pack and then fill it with water if you need. And it's got a spigot attached to it here. So you can take this off and dump water out, or you can run the spigot or whatever. You can hang it upside down. This one's frozen solid if it's any indication of how good the product is. But I've been doing this with it for about the last 1.5 years, throwing it around in my pickup truck and out here in the barn, and it hasn't broken. So those Smart Bottle Inc. bags are a good way to store water and transport water as well. Now, in a home environment, I know, the best camera work, the best production, you're welcome. In a home environment, I recommend a minimum of 3 gallons per person per day. You will hear most people say, yeah, but I heard 1 gallon. Yeah, for drinking, we already covered if you're a 200-pound male, you need a minimum of 3 liters or 100 ounces per day. Okay, so what happens if you need more than that and you only have 1 gallon stored? Also, remember, a lot of our preparedness food that we're stockpiling requires water to cook. Rice, beans, freeze-dried foods to reconstitute them, so forth and so on, pastas. You need water for cooking. And then also basic sanitation. I'm not saying you have to fill up the hot tub every day of the week and go for a dunk. If you can, more power to you, especially when the lights are out. But even your sponge bath is going to use a little bit of water. And you really, really should wash the parts where the sun don't shine on a regular basis. A, because, do your fellow man a favor. B, because lack of sanitation leads to disease. Okay? So I like 3 gallons per person per day. So simple math, family of 5, that's 15 gallons per person per day. You extrapolate that per month, you're looking at 450 gallons per month, or 9 55-gallon barrels, or 2 or 3 IBC totes. So you need a way to replenish that water as well, which is probably a topic for a different video, but rainwater catchment is good to go in most places for replenishment, because once you get above about a month's worth of water storage, it gets pretty difficult. So moving right along. Water, filtration, treatment, storage, body weight, half it. That's how many ounces you need per day. Carrying capacity in your rucksack, get home bag, inch bag, all that's good to go. Food in your bug out bags and all that. Most of the go-tos are like freeze-dried, Mountain House or whatever. MREs, field stripped MREs are good to go. Occasionally canned foods. Again, how long is your bug out, right? You want about 2 pounds per day. That should put you somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000-ish calories per day. And again, you can go with less and you can go without, but we're going to put a lot of demand on the system that is your body. And so it's going to require inputs in order to function appropriately to get you from where it's bad to where it's less bad and or good. So a couple of pounds per day is what I would recommend in your bug out bag. Things that I like to carry around are like Cliff Bars, granola bars. I'm a huge peanut fanatic. I love peanuts, and they're one of the things that you can eat fairly silently while moving. Oftentimes I'll take another pouch like this and I'll just fill it up with a Ziploc full of peanuts. It's also morale food. They taste good. They're high in fat. They've got some protein in there, salt, electrolytes, so forth and so on. So I like peanuts for that. Peanut butter is another super high calorie dense. Instant rice is another one. And for a long time, although I've gotten away with it, about every 6 months or so, I would swap in and out of my bug out bag summer sausage and hard cheese because, dude, morale. It's really nice to have that. And if you have your little pot with your instant rice and you cube up some summer sausage and some hard cheese and let it get all ooey gooey and yummy, dude, morale. So MREs will work, Mountain House will work, canned food will work, but with canned food, a lot of that weight that you're carrying is water content, which should be dedicated to something else. By the way, your pack should not exceed 30% of your body weight, preferably in the range of about 20% of your body weight, which means, again, you need to know where you're going and how you're getting there, your bug out plan, because if you're a 200-pound male, 20% of your body weight's 40 pounds. And if you're carrying 5 liters of water, that's 10 pounds of water right there. If your 5-day walk, 2 pounds per day, that's another 10 pounds worth of food. That only leaves you 20 pounds for weather kit, sleep gear, lighting, combustion, so forth and so on. And so you really want to have a good idea of where you're going and how you're getting there before you end up literally with a 97-pound inch pack. I've seen them. I've seen other people with 97-pound, I'm never coming home bags. Well, brother, you're not going to need to come home because we're going to have to dig a hole for you, because a quarter mile in, when you turn your ankle, you're going to die out there in the wilderness. It's too much weight. Nobody here is 10th Mountain Division, okay? We're not humping a 97-pound rucksack up the side of the mountain. So, again, have a really good understanding of where you're trying to go and what environment you're operating in, so that you can reverse engineer what you need in order to be able to get from where it's bad to where it's less bad and or good, okay? When it comes to food storage in your house, I've touched on this on several other videos, both at my channel, Bear Independent, and also here on Survival Dispatch. 750 pounds per person per year. It's a scary number for a lot of people, but it's really not that hard. Here's some buckets right here, and these buckets right here, that little stack right there represents about 1,700 pounds of food in buckets. It's not that hard. Okay, and so that again works out to 3,277.18 calories per person per day, which 3,200 calories per person per day is the recommended intake for a military-age male engaged in strenuous activity to not lose muscle mass. That's what we want, okay? We don't want to be just getting by. So for long-term food storage in your home, 750 pounds of food per person per year. And you can make that up, whether it's grains or canned food or dehydrated food or whatever. But I would highly recommend that you have that on board, because we can hunt, fish, trap, scavenge, forage to a point, but most of us are not going to be able to supply all of our calories that way. And then even if we do, some of those calories could be questionable. You could end up in a food poisoning situation, things like that. And if the lights are out, you really don't want to be pooping yourself to death. That's a bad way to go. So, and then lastly, think about agriculture. How are you going to replace the calories that you're eating? A big part of this is, what precisely are you preparing for? If you're preparing for a hiccup in the system and you think that the system will be back online in 3 to 6 months, then maybe agriculture isn't a concern for you. You're not necessarily worried about the system going offline, which means you won't need to produce your own food. And that's fine. If that's your conviction, if that's what you're concerned about, cool. For me, I'm more concerned of a long-term systemic failure. And I think much of what we've experienced in 2019, 2020, and now 2021 are the symptoms of the disease that is the systemic failure that we're experiencing as a nation, unfortunately, right now. And so I think in on a much longer timeline than I think a lot of people do. And so as many calories as you can produce on your land through agriculture, animal husbandry, and hell, even, hunting, fishing, trapping, scavenging, foraging, to an extent, good on you. But sooner or later, you're going to have to replace the calories that are coming out of your pantry, that are coming out of your buckets, with things that are coming out of the ground. Or out of the stream or the river or the lake or the ocean. But you want to have, I think a year's worth of food is a really good benchmark that absorbs a lot of hiccups. And I know, again, I've said this in other videos, I know a lot of people that have had personal issues, not systemic issues, personal issues, job loss, disease, financial issues where they've had to dip into their food storage, and it was literal physical insurance. They didn't have to buy food because they had it. And then when those issues were remedied, They bought more food to replace the food that they had consumed while they experienced a hiccup. So it's not that crazy to think about. Also, I would just add, I think that we're going to see food prices going up perhaps significantly in 2021. So if you look at it from an investment standpoint, you're only doing yourself a favor. Food's going to get more expensive, not less, I believe. And so if you can buy it now, then buy it now. If you eat it a year or 2 or 12 from now, cool. You saved money in the long run. So to recap, food and water will kill you if you're not careful about it, or if you don't have it. You can go 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food, but you're not going to operate at peak performance levels if you are thirsty and starving to death. So I would say that that's a bad plan. So for your bug out bag, your inch bag, get home bag, whatever, 5 liters of carrying capacity of water and 2 pounds per day that you expect to be afield. Day packs, you know, a day or two's worth of food. It's a day pack, right? About 3 liters of water. You want to have the ability to boil water, to treat water, and to filter water. And for long term, you want to have the ability to store water and replenish that water. And then, you know, maybe a Berkey filter or a whole home reverse osmosis or whatever floats your boat for water consumption in your home. And when it comes to food long term, as discussed, just 2 pounds per person per day. You start extrapolating that number, those numbers get big quick, but don't be afraid of them. Also, purchasing in bulk can significantly lower the cost. And so if you're operating within a group or a team or whatever, a bunch of people that are all moving towards a common goal, take advantage of that purchasing power. I have with many other people in the past, and it's cut the cost per pound in half. You know, there's an economy of scale here. You know, if you get 200 pounds of rice, yeah, that's something. But if you get 2,000 or 20,000 pounds of rice, that's really something. And so look for the economies of scale there as well. And as always, you know, there's no fear here. We're just forecasting forward what might be and trying to take the appropriate steps now that we can act, not be acted upon, if or when, unfortunately, the system continues to experience systemic hiccups. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to Survival Dispatch for letting us play in your sandbox. If you're new to Survival Dispatch, go ahead, like and subscribe. Check out their website as well. There's lots of really good videos from lots of really good content creators here at this channel. So go ahead and scroll through, say hi to everybody, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about the food and water situation, or perhaps some things that I didn't touch on in this video. And as always, you can find me on YouTube at Bear Independent, B-E-A-R Independent. There are 0 A's in the word independent, by the way. Bear Independent, YouTube, Patreon, the internet, bearindependent.com. And we appreciate y'all. Stay frosty. Bear out.